Kaumara, in the tender age of childhood. Acharet, should practice. Pragyaha, one who is intelligent. Dharman, occupational duties. Bhagavatan, which are devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iha, in this life. Durlabham, very rarely obtained. Manusham, human. Janma, birth. Tat, that. Api, even. Adruvam, impermanent, temporary. Artadam, full of meaning. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary, like other bodies, it is meaningful, because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivaibhava Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The whole purpose of Vedic civilization and of reading the Vedas is to attain the perfect stage of devotional service in the human form of life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, from the very beginning of life, the brahmacharya system is introduced, so that from one's very childhood, from the age of 5 years, one can practice modifying one's human activities so as to engage perfectly in devotional service. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, who knows? Svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahatho bhayad. Even a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Modern civilization, not referring to the verdicts of Vedic literature, is so cruel to the members of human society that instead of teaching children to become brahmacharis, it teaches mothers to kill their children even in the womb on the plea of curbing the increase of population. And if by chance a child is saved, he is educated only for sense gratification. Gradually, throughout the entire world, human society is losing interest in the perfection of life. Indeed, men are living like cats and dogs, spoiling the duration of their human lives by actually preparing to transmigrate again to the degraded species among the 8,400,000 forms of life. The Krishna consciousness movement is anxious to serve human society by teaching people to perform devotional service, which can save a human being from being degraded again to animal life. As already stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavat Dharma consists of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Parasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. In all the schools, colleges and universities, and at home, all children and youth should be taught to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, they should be taught to hear the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, to put them into practice in their lives, and thus to become strong in devotional service, free from fear of being degraded to animal life. Following Bhagavad Dharma has been made extremely easy in this age of Kali. The Shastra says, Haryanama, Haryanama, Haryanama eva kevalam, Kalo nastyeva, 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 gatya anyata. One need only chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Everyone engaged in the practice of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will be completely cleansed from the core of his heart and be saved from the cycle of birth and death. Shri Praraduvacha Kaumara Acharit Prabhyo Dharman Bhagavatan Iha Dulabham Manusham Janma Tadapya Dhruvam Arthadam. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life, in other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary, like other bodies, it is meaningful, because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Dhananjana Sharakaya Shaksharun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivaibhava Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as mentioned in the verse today and in Srila Prabhupada's report, that human life should not be misused for sense gratification. What should it be used for? What did we just learn from the verse and from the purport? What should the human life be used for? We need some volunteers.
For devotional service.
Yes, to engage in devotion. No, now I talk. To engage in devotional service. That's the whole purpose of human existence, of human life. And the laws of nature are so stringent, so strong, uncompromising. If that rare gift of human life is being misused, then it will not be granted anymore. And the living entity will return, as Srila Prabhupada explained so nicely in the purport, several times. Again, the soul has to return to non-human species, animal life. And then transmigrate from one animal body to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. 8,400,000 species of life. So for us, it is just a number. But factually, having to go through millions of species, what an existence, what a suffering. And we cannot imagine. Sometimes we see the animals, and not so much in Western human society. Some of the animals, they have a better life than even humans. But generally, if you watch animals, they're not very happy. Always an anxiety, isn't it? Always an anxiety. Watch some bird on the tree, looking left, right, back, up, down. Is someone attacking me? Someone coming too close to harm me? Always an anxiety. The dogs also always an anxiety. Something to eat, the urges of the senses are so strong. Animals, no? If they want to eat, they have to eat. There's no way around it. They must eat, otherwise they go crazy. So much suffering. Especially India, you see the dogs and the pigs and the donkeys. Not very happy life. So that human form of life is not being used properly, then one has to return to that kind of life. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj states, Rishabdev also, he instructs his sons in a similar way, that it's better to accept some voluntary inconvenience to attain the highest perfection of life, which means free, what Lord Krishna taught us in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, this birth, old age, disease and death. That cannot be obtained in any other way of life, only through practice of devotional service, which, yes, sometimes it feels inconvenient, getting up early in the morning, going to Mangal Arati, chanting one's rounds. It is also not very convenient sometimes. Better to just sleep through the morning hours, some nice rest. This is much more convenient. But no, better to go through such inconvenience than the other inconvenience to return to the animal species. That is much more inconvenience. They also sometimes, the animals, they want to sleep, but no, they're being kicked in so many different ways. In the middle of night they have to get up. Something happens. They sleep peacefully on the road, then at 1 o'clock, midnight, a car is coming. And then quickly they have to move away from the road, take rest somewhere else. So much inconvenience. So this is Prahlad Maharaj's point. It's better to accept some little inconvenience, going Mangal Arati, chanting rounds. In the beginning it is inconvenience, but later on it actually becomes pleasurable. So when the taste for sadhana develops, the ruchi, then Raganuga within sadhana bhakti, this Raganuga, spontaneous devotional service, it will spontaneous means I like to do it. You feel spontaneously attracted to follow all these rules, regulations, regularly hear about Krishna. You like to do it. Just recently, again, I was on the airplane in my dhoti, and the person sitting next to me asked, "Oh, so you're from a religious organization?" I said, "Yeah, Hare Krishna. You never heard about Hare Krishna?" "Oh, Hare Krishna." And then the person asked me, "You have to wear this cloth and you have to do what you have to do." I said, "Yeah, of course. I want to do it." And I was surprised. "You want to do it?" Nobody forces me. So they have this concept sometimes that we are being forced, talked into something against our free will. And they're really surprised that voluntarily I don't eat meat. Voluntarily? You have to be a vegetarian? And so many other things. You have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. So finally I told the person, I prefer this kind of lifestyle. And then I gave a whole rundown of materialistic life. I prefer to live like this. So that's the whole point. And but that should be taught to everyone when we are young children. Because for children it is not so difficult. The environment, parents, other children doing all the same thing. It's much easier to accept, is it not? Parents are natural authorities for the children. If they tell them, now you sit down and chant Hare Krishna, oh, okay. Then they chant a few rounds. It's much easier. From childhood on, it should be taught to hear about Krishna, practice devotional service, and then it becomes natural. It becomes very natural. Of course, nowadays, society is so degraded. Even for children, it becomes difficult. Is it not, the parents? You try to train your children in devotional service, but not easy. Because the whole society is so different. When they go to school, play with other children, then again, they do so many things different. So even now for the children it becomes difficult. The Kali Yuga is advancing. Even for the children it is not easy anymore. So it's rare. This human form of life is so rare. Among the millions of species of life, we only have 400,000, right? 400,000 human species out of 8,400,000. 8 million are other species, only 400,000. Among these 400,000 human species, only 30%, 70%, Srila Prabhupada gave a class. In that class he mentioned only 70% are not civilized among the 400,000 human species. 70% are not civilized. They don't even know how to read. Only 30% are civilized. They have a chance to read Vedic literatures, be trained systematically in devotional service. Only 30%, so rare. Then again, we have only once during the day of Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna appears, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, and then the teachings of devotional service are available for everyone. So that is also extremely rare. But was it once in a lifetime of day of Lord Brahma? That means each 8,640,000,000 years. Then we have a closer chance to practice devotional service. If we miss out on that now, for I think something like 10,000 years to come, then again it will be forgotten more and more, less available, difficult to practice. Then again one has to wait 8,640,000,000 years till Krishna again appears, revives all the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, etc., etc. It's a rare, and we receive that, the precious opportunity of being able to engage in devotional service, which factually we have to be convinced about this, which is the only purpose of human life, the actual purpose of human life. Not to imitate what the non-human species do in a more sophisticated way. That's not the purpose. Who was that? One of the wealthiest rich men in the world, Forbes, right? Yeah, Forbes. I forgot the first name. Steve, and then there's a name before, something Steve.
He's from Mexico. But Steve Jobs.
No, Forbes.
The number one is from Mexico. Some kind of
yeah, Forbes. That's his name, Forbes. He's an entrepreneur and a publisher, of the famous Forbes magazine. It's meant for rich people. In this magazine. So he had so many, castles he owned, hotels, chains, and most rich person. And he once made a statement, very famous statement: the one who dies with the most toys, he is successful. Toys means car, castles, houses, rich, wealth. He calls it toys. One who dies with the most toys around, he's successful. But the fact is, he's dead. Doesn't matter how many toys surround the dead body. Then where do they help us? So again, the people are being taught in modern society that enjoyment means Sanskarification. And they think, out of their own progressive intelligence, they came to that conclusion. This is not true. This concept is being inherited from the Greeks, Greek philosophers. They came up with this concoction that human existence is meant for Sanskarification. And this is not new. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Prahlad Maharaj, Rishabdev, they make the same point. The Sanskarification is not the purpose of human life. And then it is being forgotten. And then again, another philosopher, he comes up with the same idea. Then he makes his own philosophy, designs his philosophical, speculations, and then a whole civilization follows. It has all been inherited from the past, this concept that human life is meant for Sanskarification. That's the purpose. It did not sprung up from their own intelligence. This is what we learn in school from our parents, previous civilizations. It's all been inherited. So we have to be so strong in our practice and conviction of Krishna consciousness that this now should spread more and more, this concept in society, that devotional service, Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna, hear about Krishna, that's the purpose of human life. We have to become so strong. And Srila Prabhupada, he had so many plans to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. This is what Srila Prabhupada distinguished him from any other preachers, gurus, sadhus, etc. He had that strong conviction and strong desire to make this Krishna consciousness, devotional service available to everyone, even children and mothers and everyone. Nobody should be excluded. We have to tax our brains in such a way that we make this Krishna consciousness accessible to each and every person on this planet. This way, some other way. There's so many adjustments that we don't want to compromise, but we can adjust according to time, place, circumstances, people. Now, we can already practically see that the trends in society are changing. Even over the last 50 years, the trends are changing. In the 60s, I remember, you just went out on the street in a park and sat down, then immediately some hippies came, long hair, beard. Hello, what are you doing? You're chanting Hare Krishna. Oh, interesting, can I join? They just came with you. You went out on Harinam and immediately 5, 6, 7 people came with you, stayed overnight, shaved up in the morning. It was not uncommon. Now, why is this not happening now, today? It's a different society. Now, young people, they lost that spirit. They think this working, making money, working with Sanskarification, following Forbes' example, that's the purpose of human life. Again, they start thinking. 60s, they got tired. We don't want to do what our parents did. Just look at our parents. They're not happy. We don't want to follow that example. But they dropped out of that materialistic society. They dropped out, no more. Now we want to know the truth. What's the real purpose? And then they all, mass journeys over land, because airplanes were too luxurious at that time, too expensive. So to travel to India, you did over land. For 3 months you traveled by bus through all the Arab countries. It's very exciting. And then they ended up in India, and this is not happening. Not happening. We have to find, but the cycle, human cycle, it is always in motion. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That social cycle of human society. It is always, there will always be people searching and looking for moksha at any time. It will always be there. But now they express it in a different way, and we have to be sensitive to that. We have to have our senses. How do people nowadays in society, how do they search for liberation? What are the symptoms? We have to use our intelligence and then present Krishna consciousness accordingly. But Srila Prabhupada had so many plans. Varnashram, now we have this small poster here, the temple of Vedic planetarium. This was one way of Srila Prabhupada's way of attracting people from all over the world to that project of the Vedic planetarium. Srila Prabhupada wanted to show the world that how much modern science is actually speculating about the structure of the universe. There's so much speculation going on. This is some time ago, I mentioned the other day, I read one scientific article on the internet, and it was mentioned that our sun exists for 5 billion years, and it will continue to exist approximately the same time, 5 billion years. You cannot be further away from speculation. It's simply not possible. Because the fact is, the sun existed not now. Try to compare these two numbers. 5 billion years. And keep this in your mind. 5 billion years. They say, scientists, modern scientists, the sun existed for 5 billion years. Keep this in your mind. 5 billion years. Now we learn from Shastras, the sun existed for 155.5 trillion, 20 billion years. You cannot compare these two. 5 billion and 155.5 trillion, 20 billion years. And it's a serious article. Students learn this at the university, and they're convincing. So this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted to show. Not only that, so many other things. And we will, if we have the time, find the time, I will show this evening a 20-minute long video about the Vedic planetarium. About how the structure, cosmic structure actually works. And some more exciting news about the progress of the construction of this massive project. And already it attracts the attention of very important people. They flew to Mayapur, they heard about it, they checked the website, and very important people, they're already showing up. What is that? There was one German tourist in Mayapur. He didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness, just happened so that he was in Calcutta, someone told him about the festival, and okay, let me check out. He came, German tourist, and he saw the temple. He said, "What do you need such a big temple for?" And then the reply was, well, we have every Janmashtami and Gaur Purnima, we have millions of visitors. Should we put them in some straw huts or whatever? You have millions of visitors. Yes. So it begins to attract the attention. And this is what Srila Prabhupada desired, this is what he wanted. But that is only possible by cooperation. Single-handedly, or even a group of devotees cannot do it. Every devotee has to participate to make this project possible. Otherwise it will fail. Already the construction has been delayed for a number of years, 5, 6, 7 years already delayed, because the fundraising slows down. Ambarish Prabhu, Alfred Ford, he sponsored half of the construction, but now he wants to see that ISKCON is fulfilling their promise, or its promise. He wants to see that now. And ISKCON has a tendency to be often slow. That's a problem we have in our society. We are super enthusiastic, we are convinced, we are so many things we have, but there's one quality which is lacking, and that is being efficient and fast. Srila Prabhupada wanted everything fast, but at the same time efficient. First class and fast. So we always desire to be first class, but we are slow. That's the problem. So seeing that sort of disappointment of Ambarish Prabhu in the fulfillment, our fulfillment, to continue with the construction, then I thought, I got the idea, why not only once, if every spiritual master, every guru in ISKCON just takes his Vyasa Puja Dakshin yearly, just once. Just once. Take all the Vyasa Puja Dakshin and give it for the construction of the temple. So I did it just on the spot. And I hope you will help and assist. I took right there in Mayapur this silver coin for $11,000. They only have a few, limited amount production. And I'm quite sure that Srila Prabhupada is this massive silver, heavy coin. The Srila Prabhupada is in front, at the back, the Vedic planetarium, and it mentions here $11,000. So this was my surrender, and I will take this year's Vyasa Puja Dakshin and give it to the construction. And already about 13 gurus, they followed, including Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Lokanath Maharaj, and so many others. They all followed. And so I'm quite sure that Srila Prabhupada will be pleased with our combined effort to help with the construction of the Vedic planetarium, because it is such an important project. Even, as I mentioned, during the construction already so much attention is being drawn. Also a couple of scientists, they showed up. They had long discussions with those who know a little bit better the Vedic astronomy, Vedic structure of the universe, Vedic cosmology. Those who are more, versatile, they had long discussions, hours and hours and hours of discussions. It's a very, very important project. And I would be really happy if you help with this endeavor only once. Of course you do, But I want to dedicate this year's Vyasa Puja for that. The theme is the construction of the Vedic planetarium. So I grabbed one. Whoever wants to follow that example, there are only few limited editions. Grab one yourself and also get Srila Prabhupada's mercy. I'm 100% convinced Srila Prabhupada will shower His mercy on anyone who helps in this way. And there's even a second one I also received. Very beautiful. So this is our humble attempt to help Srila Prabhupada in his mission. Because the previous acharyas, they all desired to make Srila Mayapur available for the world, for pilgrims to come. Especially Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Thakur, all the previous acharyas. And they placed so much importance in Srila Mayapur because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, that holy Dham and his pastimes. And it is described, especially by Srila Bhakti Thakur, that the Krishna consciousness will spread all over the world, starting from that central point of Navadvip Dham. And it is happening, of course. And it will continue spreading. So as more we put our energy into that project of Srila Mayapur, as more this will strengthen Krishna consciousness all over the world. We have to go to the root. Yes. So I would like to stop here, because we have to do some preparations. And thank you very much for your attention. And especially so many devotees came from far away places, many disciples. Even from Russia, I see, from Moscow, far away, from Belarus. What other countries we have? Ukraine, yes, especially Ukraine. Because last year we could not visit. So from Ukraine many came, and
from
Bulgaria, Vrindavan, from Germany I see.
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, wow. So far away, Czech Republic. Huh? Slovenia, from Slovenia, Croatia, from Croatia also. Huh?
Macedonia.
Macedonia? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, where?
There.
I don't see.
Bavari.
Ah, Hare Krishna.
Austria.
From Austria, Krishna. Serious country. Austria. Not to be missed.
Slovakia.
Slovakia and Denmark. Sridham, Denmark. Huh? Bosnia. Bosnia, so many. From Serbia, someone from Serbia? Serbia? Not yet. Nice. So I hope you have all, comfortable accommodations. Is it okay the way you are being accommodated?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So thank